Alright, enough screwing around. Let's get productive on rebuilding this drive shaft with this cardon joint here. Let's see if we can figure this cocksucker out. Well, let's do the tricky side first by removing all those clips. It's probably good to mark your drive shaft too so you know where that point goes for balancing purposes. It's not that graceful because I'm using one hand, but some of these are pretty seasoned there, so we're gonna have to use a punch or something to break them out. Take a punch or something. You really want to see you knock that clip free. I think we got it pretty good. Okay, now that we got all of our clips off, I think I'm going to split this bottom one first and then remove this ball and then do that ball separate. Let's get it into the U-joint vise and see if we can get that sucker apart. Well, those things are in there pretty fucking good. Let's put the snipe on her. All you need is a little bit of pressure. Teach it a lesson. Okay, it looks like I'm gonna have to do this side because I don't got enough to get it out of that joint. So that came out pretty easy, and now we just gotta get this one out, push these two ends, and the rest of the assembly will just come out. So I'm gonna get the camera set up and we're gonna take these ones out. Shit, these ones are coming out way easier than the other ones. Here's all of our new parts. I got a greasable one right here, so let's get this all assembled. Well, we know, according to how I marked it, this is going to go in like this. I need to pull off two caps. This is where you can use a vise to gently press them in too, to get them into place. Or you can do it this way. You just push it in enough that you can see the groove and then back it out and you can put your little snap ring in. Now we're going to assemble it, and this is going to be the best I'm going to be able to do. So I got my little spring in there. This is a greasable one, so I had to get a little slinger that came along with it. And then I put extra grease in there, and this is where it's going to go. So I got extra grease in there. So now I got to pull all four of these caps off. So I'm just pressing in the caps on this top U-joint first. Not putting everything in yet, I just want to get everything into place first before I snap the U-joints, before I snap the clips in. Okay, I'm going to explain this part to you here. Now this thing kind of swivels. Now I got it in together like a big ball, right? So when you do this section here, it's going to be really hard to do because the U-joint doesn't line up perfectly. So what happens when you go to stick your caps in, one on each side is not going to go in perfectly because it's going to be out. So your needle bearings are going to end up catching a bit. So if you end up tightening them up, it gets really tight. Don't force it because your little needles in there might get damaged and then you kind of screwed your U-joint here. But what you got to do is what I did. I didn't get it on the video because I was pissed off and trying to get it into work, is that I'd stick it on top as far as it would end up going, and then what I would do is I would move this thing around and I'd push on the cap, so kind of like that, and eventually once you got it into the right spot, the cap would just drop in, then you can tighten it up. And then the same with this other one here. Once you got it to where as far as it would go toward catch, you just kept on turning it and then it would just snap in. So that's how I ended up doing it. Video quality is pretty poor, I apologize for that. It's kind of a frustrating little job because this is like one big ball, so trying to get lined up and everything else, and bad camera angles, so but hopefully you can kind of get the gist of it. Okay, here's a good angle here that people can see. So what I'm going to do is alright, do you know what time it is? It's fucking beer time, that's what time it is. I'm going to end my video with this. Two things that I find to be a big problem is putting the belly pans back in. They're heavier than fuck. That's one thing. And the second thing is that cardon joint, wherever you pronounce it, that joint, big ball joint in the front. It's a little tricky to get your caps in, so don't force it. I got mine in, I got lucky, and I got them all in. Took a couple of tries and some figuring out, but I got them in. And then I got too rammy in the front and I cracked one of the cups because one of the needle bearings fell through to the bottom, and then I almost got it to where I needed to push my little clip in, and I pushed a little too far without even knowing that the needle bearing had fallen through. So I had to steal one from the rear Driveshaft because it had the exact same U-joint in the back. It's fucking beer time. I'm going in. If you have any questions or comments, post them below. Otherwise, thanks for watching.